Behold, a cold open, and it's my favorite type, the type that I didn't have to think up anything for, because what I'm going to do, folks, we got sent an email at animesickos@gmail.com, and you can send us emails too, and if they're funny like this one, we'll read them also, because we're about to read an email we received. Joe, are you ready? Did I send you this? I think I forwarded you this. Did you read it?
I believe I asked you to send it to me, and then I did not read it.
Perfect, because I wanted you. My response was, I want to read it to you live on the show, but I guess I'll forward it anyway.
Yeah, some shit came up.
Okay, cool. I'm glad, because this is fun. When I got this, it warmed my heart. It warmed my heart is funny, because it's someone complaining about us. But you'll see what I mean. The subject line is, please release me from your dark prophecies. And I mean, that just goes to show you, we've said in the past that the anime sickos are genius psychic prognosticators, but only for stuff that sucks and is bad. So I mean, he's right. We can't do a light prophecy. Anyway, this is from Matt Kreisky. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I probably am. I apologize. He writes, Dear Anime Sickos, I am writing to you today to inform you of a curse you laid upon me, which came true. I was listening to your Suffering Fruit episode as I was on my way to my parents' house for Christmas. In that episode, you described how suffering fruit users see late night and political comedy shows as the highest form of comedy because of their love of credentials. How those shows only exist because of the suffering of writers who hate what they do and have been churned out of the NYC improv mines like so much pig iron. Joe, sidebar here. When you were younger and would read books and they would say pig iron, were you ever able, and I'm still not able, were you ever able to get your brain to accept that like pig iron is a type of iron?
You think it's like a pig smushed down into an I-beam?
I think it's iron in the shape of a pig. I think it's a little metal pig.
Okay, yeah, so it's not. It's just shitty iron.
Okay, but why do they call it that? It's like how there's a type of horse that is called pie, and I hate reading like poetic novels of the bleak American West where it's like he got up on the pie, and I'm like, it's gonna smash the pie if you get up on it. Like, you're supposed to eat that. I'm like, no, okay. Anyway, pig iron was the point. Back at it. Next paragraph. Your words reached out across space and time and settled on me like vomit on an overcoat. Twisting the threads of fate to your dark design. Well, that's a misinterpretation. This isn't our design. We're simply saying what will happen because
we would love for it to stop.
Yeah, we didn't decide it. It'd be so fucking cool if the shit we predicted didn't come true, and yet. Anyway, the very next day, my father, the most brain-wormed neoliberal I know, a man who has made multiple toasts, parentheses, gross, to Steve Jobs, parentheses, evil, at our dinner table, parentheses, neutral.
Gentlemen, to evil.
Yep. Oh, God. Fucking Steve Jobs. You know what, family? I was just thinking to myself, there didn't used to be that many Foxconn factories where they made suicide. But
yeah,
now there are.
That's why our business of making the suicide-proof netting is absolutely bustling.
Anyway, this person, Max's father, gave me a book called, quote, Comedy Writing for Late Night TV in order to, quote, help with my writing career. And so before I go any further, I would never advocate for self-harm. However, if this happened to me, I would eat a round bomb. Yeah. I would swallow it like a big lozenge.
Every Bomberman game has one of those enemies that just eats a bomb and then explodes.
Oh, comedy writing to help with my writing career. Oh, thanks. As he handed it to me, he said of the author, quote, he really has the credentials to teach this stuff. And I felt my soul wither.
The subtext there is beautiful, which is like, this stuff, of course, has no value. But this guy is the most credentialed version of this useless thing that you want to do.
You know what this reminds me of, actually, is I remember Codex Melcher gave me a book that they had. I think I was doing a tomfoolery or something, and they were like, do you want this book? Because I don't. I think they had gotten it as a gift or something. I don't know. But it was, I said sure, expecting to glance at it and then get rid of it myself, which, spoiler, yes. It was a book by Thomas Lennon and his writing partner, who was the Bulletproof Vest guy on Reno 911. I don't remember their names. Mm-hmm. And it was basically how to get rich in Hollywood, because they had done so by writing the Night in the Museum movies. And it straight up, Joe, it was like, we are longtime comedy writers and performers. However, like, the way we got rich is we wrote some shit that sucked. Like, you're gonna have to write some shit that sucks. Like, it's not like, don't get good at comedy if you want to get rich writing comedy. And I'm just like, well, I don't care about that. And that's what I think about like, because if you really want to be good at writing late night comedy, like, you have to suck shit and not be funny. Like, honestly, the real way to, like, get better at comedy writing is, like, go to Zoo Lights with Dylan, like, with at Fiorello, and just like listen to him riff at the fucking at the lit up animals.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wonderful email though.
Yeah. Please, sickos, end this curse. I do not have the strength to withstand it. Boy, does any of us? I sure don't. Oh, this is another funny addition. So I asked Max if we could read it on the show. He said yes. He said it would rule if we'd read it on the show. And this is very funny. Don't worry about, he adds, don't worry about changing the names. My dad just watches CNN and listens to homework podcasts and calls Glass Onion, quote, a film for morons who don't understand how the world works. So he will never find out about my betrayal. Now, the thing about that is morons who don't understand how the world works describes me about as accurately as anyone ever could. So it makes sense that I thought Glass Onion was very fun.
It's a murder mystery, right? Like, it sounds...
I mean, it not to spoil too much, but it hinges on the fact that billionaires are often much stupider than their public image would have you believe.
That's like a slam dunk thesis. Like, we have live evidence of that in a very real way.
Yeah, but I guess if you are a brain-wormed neoliberal dad who makes toast to Steve Jobs, yeah, you can't say that Glass Onion is good, because then it calls all your toasts into question.
Yeah, Steve Jobs' greatest skill was like probably whipping Steve Wozniak, so he made a better computer. I don't know.
Steve, stop writing knock-knock jokes. Fuck you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko.
Real quick, we got 3 new patrons to thank, and then we can get to the fucking main part, baby. Our first new patron, and I believe this is a returning patron. I never can tell. I'm just sort of going off of my vague, hazy memory. If this is a first-time patron, well, it's not going to really change what we do. We're going to read your name anyway. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Cameron Frederickson.
Thank you for money.
Yeah. Be it the first or second time, it doesn't matter to us. Oh, shit. Our next patron, well, it's not the blood machine. It's its little brother, the problem machine.
Thank you, machine.
Yeah. You will have problems.
Put in a good word for us with the blood machine.
You know, problem machine would be a great way to describe our fucking computers lately.
Yes.
And our third new patron is Claire D. Claire, thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Excellent. Now, the main part. Yeah, we watched Avatar 2. The main reason we did that is because we wanted to do an episode but not have to like think up an idea. You can just go see a movie. Like you don't have to write it.
Also, people said guys should go see Avatar and talk about it, which, I mean, that's like 90% of the planning right there.
Yeah. And my thought was, I want to see Avatar 2 just enough that I would see it for an episode, but I would not go see it if we weren't doing it. And turns out, this is the real slam dunk that put us over the edge, is that I like hanging out and having a good time with my friend. So we went and did that. I just want to say, I have been seeing a lot of jokers on the internet think they can do what we do. A lot of amateurs trying their hand at the anime sickos way. They see Avatar 2 and they think they've had some great insight. They think they can fucking swing with the big boys, and they're like, you know what I just realized? Avatar 2. You think it's a movie? You think that because it's at a movie theater, but you know what it actually is? It's anime. Avatar 2 is anime. They think they're so clever. Wow, you're the third sicko. So smart. You think it's anime? Huh? Oh, wow. Do you think fucking James Cameron, the guy who loves anime, who talks about fucking Jinro, the Wolf Brigade, and fucking wrote the Alita movie, do you think maybe he likes anime? Do you think he'd be influenced by anime in his big fucking sci-fi epic? Of course it's anime. Come on. This is fucking basic shit. This is not, you think that you have cracked the code. You think you're playing on our level saying Avatar 2 is anime. Please, come on. You think you can just step up and be as good as us? We do this shit for our job.
No, we don't.
Shut up. Don't remind me. The real thing, like, it's obvious that Avatar 2 is anime. That's not a fucking observation. That's not a novel thought that people are going to tune in to hear you say. That's just sort of face value.
Yeah, pointing at stuff and saying it's anime, well, that shit might have flown in 2019.
And when you're pointing at Roadhouse.
Yeah. But the thing is, we ran into the ground, so people should stop doing it. So it's fresh even for us again.
Yeah, and honestly, if Avatar 2 is anything, it's manga. It's
so more manga-y, and we have reasons.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But first, we got to talk about the actual physical logistics of seeing this movie, because we saw it in a dumb way.
Well, so we saw it on New Year's Day. We had two options for seeing Avatar in Chicago, which were the Roosevelt Collection Theater, which is like one of those theaters where you have the easy chairs and they bring you a burger, that type of deal. And then the other place that was screening it was this theater called the Davis, which is in the neighborhood of Lincoln Square, which is a wonderful and important, like, community movie house. But, like,
they have like an old rear projection TV that they like. That's what's making the movie come out onto the screen.
They split one of the viewing rooms in half to make two rooms, so they could have other screenings. Yes. So anyway, that movie theater is not really compatible with like the Avatar experience.
Yeah, the whole point of the Avatar is supposed to be look at the good graphics. So yeah, that was that. We went to the Roosevelt Showplace Icon. And speaking of Icon, in the Showplace Icon, so when I was looking for screening for times, there's like a jillion like options. And by that I mean, like, you know, you'd think they'd start early and go to nighttime. But they did that like 5 times. And each set of times had a bunch of fucking icons above them that no one can understand. And this is like hostile infrastructure designed to like make old people have a bad time. Because I was like decoding some of these fucking things. And I noticed that one of the icons was HFR, which means high frame rate, which is like the Best Buy TV demo experience.
You got to turn off motion smoothing.
Yeah, it's like, you want to see Avatar with motion smoothing? Like, half of them are that. And that made me want to puke that, like, they were trying to get me to do that shit. I didn't do that shit. Also, they wanted me to watch it in 3D. Never.
Yeah, Tom and I are both firmly anti 3D. We don't care. Like, it's been touted as cool to us our entire lives, and it's always been a little less cool than promised.
I saw the original Avatar in 3D because, again, the whole selling point was like the 3D is good. It's not like those hack jobs. This is like they really did this, pull out all the stops to make the 3D work, and I could never not notice the parts of the frame that weren't in focus. And I don't mean that they're not in focus as like a mistake. There's always going to be parts of the frame that aren't in focus because there's a thing in focus and then there's the rest. But like when there's something that's not in focus, it's just like a fuzzy shape that is also like coming out at me. I'm just like, why is that fuzzy shape coming out at me? And like I could never focus on the cool stuff. I'd always be like, there's a fuzzy guy in the background who's popping out at me. Why is he doing that? And yeah, it's not gonna do 3D. Anyway, so we picked the non-high frame rate, non-3D version, but it was still 4K, so that the picture was good, and also we had fucking recliners that had heated seats, and it would kick ass. And then I decided, what time are we gonna go? And I know that my friend Joe is best in the morning and drops off hard in terms of energy level late in the day. And I especially know this is a 3-hour movie, so earlier the better. And pretty much the only option for early in the day was 10 fucking a.m.
I loved it. I think it was great. It's such a good time to see a movie because afterwards you can have lunch, you can hang out, and it's like not even close to sunset. The matinees are often cheaper, so I mean, there's just a lot of good reasons here.
There was fucking nobody. Like when we got to the theater, like we got there a little early. We got there at like 9:45, and when we went in, we were looked at like it's like we. You know what it was like? It was like real life JRPG characters coming into someone's home to break all the pots, and they're just like, "Whoa, what are you doing in our place?"
When we said we were here for the 10 o'clock Avatar showing, like the teenager was like, no way.
Yep.
He was very shocked at this. It being on New Year's Day means like we clearly weren't partying because we were like walking around at 10 a.m. Being like, we would like to see the movie at a reduced cost.
You know what the real thing I was doing instead of partying was, so I've never struggle with insomnia except for 2 days ago. I was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it was like 1 a.m. and I could tell that I was really near the end. This is the final boss, baby. I'm gonna beat the game. I'm just gonna beat the game and then go to bed right after. And so then I beat the game. I watched all the cutscenes and all that shit. And then I looked at the clock, and it was 3:30 in the morning, and I went, uh-oh, because my sister was coming over the next day with her children, and that was going to be for lunchtime, which, you know, I don't have to wake up early, but, like, I can't have a full 8 hours if I, you know, go to bed at 3:30, so I'm like, I'm going to be tired. And so I get ready for bed, and I go to bed, and it occurs to me, like, man, it's going to suck if I don't get enough sleep. And then I just didn't go to bed. I just didn't happen. I just sat there in the bed with my eyes closed, and every time I noted how awake I still was, it caused me a wave of panic and despair, which are emotions that make you relax more.
That's a good anxiety loop. What if the fucked up thing happens right now? Oh no, it has started to happen.
Yeah, it's like the fact that it has happened is stressing me out, and stress prevents you from going to sleep. And so the next day, the day I have bad sleep, and my sister comes over and whatever, and next day I have the 10 a.m. Avatar show, and I'm like, I better go to bed early so that I can wake up for the Avatar show.
You showed up at my house so fucking miserable.
I was like, now certainly I'm not going to do it 2 days in a row. I did it 2 days in a row, folks. I showed up miserable. I was like barely alive. I'm like, Joe, What's life for? Why are we here? Wouldn't it be just as good if we weren't here? Fucking Christ. But yeah, okay. So we're at the Avatar show. I'm dying. You know what was really funny? Being alone in the Showplace Icon Theater is we bonded popcorn and a drink. And so we, like, you know, like reasonable people were like, let's go to the counter. And they're like, no, you got to go to the iPads over there and order on the iPad. And like maybe when it's really crowded, it makes more sense to order on the iPads and then the counter is just where they put the orders out and call your number. But when it was just two guys, the only two people in the building ordering one popcorn, one drink.
The vibe wasn't great. They were like, if you look at them directly, we will punish them. You must use the iPad.
And then we went to the theater, and I noticed that the seats that I picked weren't the most goodest. I thought they were, but I wasn't reading the little diagram of the theater right. So we just picked the goodest ones, and we're like, chances anyone else is coming to this fucking screening is 0%.
And no one cared because only one group showed up. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was the comfiest way to watch a 3-hour movie.
It really was. I ate my popcorn. I had a drink. It kicked ass. Anyway, so we fucking saw a movie. This Avatar 2 movie. It's about blue guys. Joe, did you ever find time to watch the first Avatar? I mentioned earlier that I had seen it. I didn't rewatch it. But I remember you told me you hadn't seen it at all. Did you ever find time to get caught up before we...
Yeah, I did. I did find time. So let me give you my summary.
Cool.
In the first film, Avatar, there are these blue people called the Na'vi.
Mm-hmm.
And they are menaced by Gargamel, who wants to use them to make gold or perhaps eat them.
Mm-hmm.
The crew, which is the in-movie name for all the blue people...
Yeah, they're called the crew.
The crew is chased to the edge of the water. That's where the movie ends.
Yeah, and Avatar 2
takes
right
it's like
up.
The Raid 2 taking place like 2 minutes later after the first one.
Okay, so you did watch it. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Avatar 2. So here's the thing about Avatar 2 that actually, like, I'm gonna spoil my take, my like top line review. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I was surprised, especially because I didn't really care for the first one much at all. I thought it was very medium. I really liked Avatar 2, and I think the reason why is that it is an almost entirely plot-free film. I will now summarize the entire plot for you, and I'm not really joking here. In terms of like high-level stuff, like obviously there's a lot of little scenes happening, but the high-level stuff is our hero from movie 1, hilariously named Jake Sully. I can't get over that.
Muppet name.
I mean, it's because when I was growing up, there was a ton of Irish Catholic kids in my school with the last name Sullivan, and all of them were nicknamed Sully. So to me, Sully is not a last name; it is a shortening of the last name Sullivan. Anyway, Jake Sully and his blue family are chilling out. Then one day, it occurs to them, bad guys are gonna come kill us because of. I don't remember. They did some stuff. I guess they did some terrorism in Avatar 1. Bad guys are going to come reprise. We need to hide. Let's hide with the sea people. Time passes. Oh no, they found us in our sea hideaway. Let's fight. They fight. The end. That's it. I'm not joking. Joe, am I joking?
No, there's like a solid hour of water people vibes, which is fine because they live in what looks like a Monster Hunter village.
It's a Monster Hunter village. They show up, and the leader of the fucking blue people tribe, the sea people tribe, and I love that they're different shades of blue, so you can tell. The leader of the sea people tribe is like, your talent tree is useless here. You have spect for earplugs. None of our monsters roar. Have you even done an egg carry mission? What is the fucking? He says some shit. He actually says some shit.
Yeah, he was like, "You will be like babies." It's like, although they will try to help, they will be like babies.
And then there's just like an hour of like insert name here. Allow me to instruct you on our soggy ways.
Yeah, it's not a critique that it's meandering. Like, it's the whole point of the movie is visual spectacle, and like it just gives you more reasons to see this like idyllic Monster Hunter fucking town. It is
a Monster Hunter town.
It is.
This is why I say that this movie is manga and not anime. And in order to back this up, I'm going to refer to Alita Battle Angel, the movie that James Cameron wrote and produced. I think someone else directed it. I'm going to guess Robert Rodriguez. Alita Battle Angel is a manga movie. Because fucking James Cameron liked the manga. And he wrote a movie about the manga. And the reason I say it's a manga movie is because one of the things that people really didn't like, it was divisive, this movie. The people who didn't like that the plot was meandering and it just kind of stopped. The ending is not an ending. It's just sort of the movie stops happening. And they were like, this is bad filmmaking. This is bad cinema. Well, maybe it's bad cinema, but it's not bad manga because...
That's how they all are.
Yeah, like... The movie is just 3 volumes of the manga. Like, it's not like there's no ending. Like, yeah, of course there's no ending because a bunch more volumes have to come out. Like, the whole point of manga is that it just keeps going and going and going. You got to read a new chapter every week. And that's exactly what this feels like. This whole movie, Avatar 2, feels like the part of One Piece where they get to a new island and they meet the guy on the new island and he shows like, this is how this island looks. This is how our buildings look. This is the unique thing that happens here. And Luffy goes, wow, cool. And then like a bad guy shows up and he's like, I'll protect you. You're my new friends. And like, that's this movie.
Yeah, it's good, though. I liked it. The pacing, I thought, would really drag at 3 hours. My belief is that I think movies can obviously be 3 hours, but like you do start to feel them. I think another movie that was long in 3 hours that like time absolutely went by super fast, which is how I felt about this, was Zodiac. Is a long movie, but like, oh my god. That's a time travel movie. You put that on, 3 hours go by. Yeah,
it happens instantaneously.
Yeah.
I felt similarly about RRR as well. That's 3 hours, but like, you know, it's just like there's no part you don't hoot at seeing. And this is why it being manga is such a point in its favor, because the entire movie is structured like you're on the Shonen Jump app and reading chapter after chapter. At the end of the day, you've read an incredible number of pages, but it never feels like you were reading anything long because all you were doing is reading a chapter and then reading a chapter and then like the chapters are only 15 pages. They're fast. And then there's another one. And so it's like 15 pages of the blue people show the sea people show our forest heroes about what kind of fucking animals you can ride in the sea. Our guys are used to animals you can ride in the air. These are different, and they have a tough time. And then there's a chapter about how their tails are different, and they see people yank on our friends' tails, and every time they do, I think it's going to be like Goku, and I think they're going to fall down immediately.
Yeah, it's like their power level will drop to 0.
And then it's like, oh, now we're going to have a chapter about the blue boy, one of the blue boys, because our hero, Jake Sully, has 2 blue boys. Their names are Old Blue Boy and Young Blue Boy.
Honest to God, I don't fucking know the name of the fan. Like, I don't even remember the name of the wife so much because, like, usually when she's referred to, it's like the feral lady with the bow. You know, it's not like her name.
Or like, hey, dear, like,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually part of why I like the movie a lot more. I didn't give a shit about anybody in the first movie. I didn't care about Jake Sully. I didn't care about his GF. They were very generic to me. And this movie, they're barely in it because it's now an ensemble cast, and the most of the time is spent on the fucking kids. And like the kids are kind of fun because they're like goofy kids. This is very manga. One of the kids is like magical. Like Sigourney Weaver's daughter. I don't really understand how that happened because I don't remember what happened to Sigourney Weaver's character in the first one. But one of Jake Sully's daughters is like Sigourney Weaver's like clone child, and she's got like magic. And
so when she jacks into like an animal with her avatar braids, different stuff was happening.
Yeah. Normally, normal stuff happens when you do that. You just jack into the earth net. But when she does it, some fucked up stuff happens, and they're like, you can't let her do that again. And like, she can like communicate with the animals like, without talking.
Well, it's Aquaman. She becomes an Aquaman.
Yo, that's true. And this is what I mean about this is a very manga type of thing. Manga will sort of seed these story ideas long before they're actually going to become the focus, so that when they do become the focus, it feels like it's earned and it's not coming out of nowhere. Like, because if you're looking at this from like a cinema head's point of view, you're like, it is a plot hole that they bring up the idea that there's some strange thing about the daughter and it never really pays off. And I'm like, it's going to pay off in movie 5. Like, obviously. It's manga. Like they've been talking about Dr. Vegapunk in One Piece for 20 years, and he finally is showing up on screen in the manga now, and it's really cool. I'm glad they did it.
So we have Jake Sully's family, which are also blue people. You got old blue boy, little blue boy, or is it young blue boy? Are you
young blue boy?
Did you name them based on size? No, age.
Yeah, old blue boy, young blue boy, Sigourney Weaver daughter, and little daughter. Little daughter who exists only to be in peril, and there is a hilarious line where she says, "I can't believe I got tied up again."
Yes. Yes. So that's the family. There is like the chieftain family of the sea people. They basically look like the Zora if they were also Na'vi.
Yeah. I glimpsed in the fucking credits that Kate Winslet was in this movie, and I said to Joe, I could not for $1,000 tell you who Kate Winslet was in this movie. I looked it up later. She's the sea people's the sea people's chief. She's his wife. And I'm just like, wow, they could have gotten someone who would have had a much lower fee to play that role, because it's not a big one.
Yeah, because you're just in a big capture rig anyway.
Yeah. These blue people, and
so the only other character that stuck with me, there's a whale. So what's good about this movie, in terms of just like raw value, is that you get an Avatar movie,
yeah,
but in the middle of it, there's a Free Willy movie.
Yeah, for real. It's like I turned to Joe during the movie, and I didn't know how he was taking it. I didn't know what his opinion was. I was just watching the movie. I wasn't like looking over to see like, what is your expression at this moment. And I just told him during this part, they should just make the whole movie be like having a whale friend. And he was like, yeah.
Yes. And the story behind the whale is interesting. Whales are social creatures. We know that from real life. So it also applies to alien whales.
But like these alien whales are like even like sicko mode whales. Like they're even like Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords shows up as a whale scientist with no accent. He's speaking unaccented Omaha, Nebraska English, which is nonsense. And he's like
the ship is all Australian and New Zealand accents too. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if James Cameron was like, it would be funny if you didn't have your accent.
But it is 100% James Cameron. Like, you know, people really like how Daniel Craig has that silly accent in those fucking mystery movies. Yo, dude, why don't you do one of those? Really fuck with people, because it fucked with me when I like clicked, and it took me a while because like Jermaine's face is so distinctive.
Yeah.
So like you see him and he's, you know, it's like, oh, from Flight of the Conchords. But like I saw him and I'm like, that's not Jermaine. And like it took me like 30 seconds before I'm like, yo, that's him. Whoa. Anyway, he's the whale scientist, and he's like, these whales are the smartest beings in the universe. They're smarter than us. They're better at poetry than us. These whales can do rap battles.
You know how the whales are smart and emotional? Well, these are smarter and more emotional.
And like he shows it, like shows the people like a picture of the whale's brain, and it's like, this is the part of the brain that is involved with emotion. It's like 10 times bigger than the part of our brain that does that. They feel so much feelings. They're smart and geniuses. And so the reason is the Free Willy shit is that young blue boy is being bullied by the teens of the water tribe who think he sucks ass because he can't swim good.
They do this prank where they try to kill him.
Yeah, they do a classic murder prank. Where they take him out to like a dangerous part of the water, ostensibly to hunt, and they're like, go around this rock and you can do some hunting. He's like, cool. And then they leave, and like a big monster, like a big evil fish tries to eat him, and he's about to die, and he gets saved by a whale.
And this whale is not with a pod because it went sicko mode and must be in isolation.
Yeah. So this is actually an important thematic core of the movie, because it's the movie we call it Avatar 2. It's actually called Avatar: The Way of Water. And what the Way of Water refers to is the journey one must take to get into piss play.
You get whale vision in this movie. You get to see what the whale sees. And it has piss vision. Everything is tinted with yellow. If it was Breaking Bad, it'd be like, oh, this is Mexico, but it's the ocean.
Yeah, and the whales are really into their emotion, which means that they like piss play, and then they like it so much that that's the only thing they see. But yeah, this is an outcast whale. When our young blue boy comes home and says, I made friends with a whale.
Yeah, everyone is like, oh, it better not have been that single whale by itself, the one that went sicko mode and is fucked.
And he's like, no, he's not fucked. He's like, no, he definitely is. He's an outcast, and we hate that whale. And if you like him, you're evil too. And Jake Sully is like, son, don't you fucking tell me you like that whale. And he's like, I do like the whale, Dad. And he's like, I hate you. You're such a bad son. Why can't you be like old blue boy, who's perfect? Nothing bad or fucked up will ever happen to him. And there's just like so many scenes of young blue boy and the evil whale, like doing stunts. And this is something that we can't really get across in words only. And you need to see the movie to see this. It's good graphics.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good graphics.
The water looks better than Wave Race. It's so good.
You thought Super Mario Sunshine looked good. Well, you're right. This also looks equally good. Like, there were definitely parts where it occurred to me, like, oh, yo, this shit's all a cartoon. Like there were definitely the blue people, you always know, as well rendered as they are.
No,
you're like,
we need
these
to
are
address
CGI guys.
something, which is that no one says this, and we need to say it, is that the blue people are a little fucked up.
They do not look good.
Like, I've checked in on the discourse, and I feel like that should be a bigger part. Like, whenever they look, when a Simpsons character looks right at the screen and it's awful. I've made this joke before, but it really, especially for the Na'vi that have like the wider noses.
The noses don't look good. See, that was one of the things that I couldn't get into the first movie, because you're supposed to really like the blue people. They're the protagonists. You want them to kill the humans, which they hilariously call the sky people. It is very funny when Jake Sully, a human-ass guy, is like, you gotta trust me, the sky people will do anything to fulfill their military goals. I'm like, sky people? Ask
me, a former sky guy.
yeah, I used to be a sky people. Fucking Christ. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, they look fucked up. Yeah, you're supposed to like them, but I couldn't get past, like, they look kind of ugly. And I kind of, now I kind of appreciate the swing it takes to, when you are designing fake aliens, to intentionally not make them cute, because it could be so easy to make them cute. So, we know from character design of cartoons how to make a design that is appealing, that people will like. And James Cameron was like, no, I'm going to make their noses gross.
Yeah. He makes you like them based on the story a little bit and not just like, oh, I default to liking the cute aliens because they're great to look at.
Yeah, and it's you know what it kind of is like? It's the same way that, like, why do you, like, it occurs to me every once in a while, like, why the fuck is Mario popular? Mario's just like a middle-aged man. Like, why is this fucker the popular character? He's not cute or like or appealing on his own. It's just like, this is just some fucking guy.
Yeah, of not human proportions.
And, well, the reason is because Mario jumps around the coolest place. And that's kind of what the fucking blue people do. The blue people got real good graphics, and they do stunts with whales. And, like, anyone who's doing that is a friend of mine. I tell you what.
Yeah.
Because he was doing so many flips and dips with that whale. Like, they were really going nuts.
It's a SeaWorld situation.
Dude, they were schmooving. They were inventing new types of schmoovement. Which, actually, that sort of the fact that whale knew about schmoovement goes into why he turned out to be an outcast. This is why they all hate him.
I couldn't stop thinking about this yesterday. I think I might have been hyperfixating on this. So, you know how Tom said there's a big fight, right?
Yeah. The third act is a big fight. The bad guy who is the same bad guy from the first movie, but he died. You may remember that he died, but he got reincarnated as a Monstar.
Yeah, so he's the tallest Navi of all time. Like, they are taller than humans in general, but like even by Navi standards, he looks like the Space Jam alien.
Yeah.
So in this fight, and before this fight occurs, we get a very long sequence where they show us how they hunt these whales, and it's like very thorough. Like, I mean, like, this is the systematic way we hinder their movement and then do this. You know, it's just like very like,
they have these fucking mechs that are crabs that look so cool. Like, they scuttle, like, they're just big robo crabs that, like, a guy gets in and pilots. They're so fucking dope. But yeah, they do this long process of killing the whale, and, like, they even say, like, ha ha ha, these whales never fight back. They never lift a fin to resist. Ha ha ha, it's easy for me to kill the whale. Ha ha ha.
Yes. And also, the reason they're killing the whales is because the goo in their brain, which is the emotional part of their brain, stops human aging. So they have adrenochrome.
They have fucking adrenochrome.
Like, Jude. It's so funny how they just drop that. Like, they extract the goop from the whale they've hunted, and the guy's just like, most expensive material in the universe, stops human aging. Like, just stops it. Anyway.
He fucking says it like that. He says it stops human aging. Just stops it. Okay. This part made me scream because when they're pulling out this goop, they're all inside the dead whale's mouth because it's huge, and they have a big, horrible fucking drill, and they drill up into its hard palate, and goop comes out, and it's awful because you love the whales. And this is especially funny because, like, the pod of whales that they did the killing on, like, just got done visiting the sea people village, and the sea people are like, we all have a whale who's our best bud. And when they come back to tell us what they did on their summer vacation, which they're doing today, is the best day ever. And all the whales are like, you were not going to believe this. I met someone. And, like, one of the whales is like, I had a baby. And it's like, you'll never believe the poem I composed. And, like, they're like, we love the whales. Yeah. And then they immediately kill one of the whales, and they're drilling into its brain and pulling out goop. And I'm like, you gotta tell me what this goop is. And James Cameron is never one to hold things back. He's like, yeah, this goop stops human aging. Like, oh, that's so dumb. I love it. But a lot of people make fun of, and rightly so, that the first Avatar, like, the whole point of, like, why are the humans being evil? It's because they want to mine unobtainium. Boo. A lot of people have tried to revisionist history that as not being stupid. Like, oh, that's actually a term that is used in engineering. Like, yeah, it's used as a gag.
Like a theoretical, like, placeholder for a material that doesn't exist.
Yeah, or like a material that does exist, but, like, it's so prohibitively expensive to get, it might as well not exist. But, like, it's not the thing. It's a label that you use to refer to whatever. Maybe you need tungsten, but you can't get it in that fucking quantity, so it's unobtainium. The fact that they're they're calling it unobtainium is so goddamn dumb, and I can't overlook how stupid it is. And so what he's done is in Avatar 2, he has applied the same basic principle, which is they need to get this fucking thing that's really hard to get, and getting it is so evil.
And
like
there's
no non-evil way to get it, and it does the dumbest fucking thing. And so that's like, yeah, this is what Nancy Pelosi uses to keep being the speaker. And I'm just like, yeah, baby, yeah. And anyway, then we learn the reason the whales never fight back is because the whales are so gentle that they consider any form of killing and violence to be evil, even in self-defense. They will never fight back. And the sicko outcast whale, previously he learned that, they hunt us in big fucking boats. So he like led a bunch of other whales to like fight back, but it didn't work. And all the whales died. He was the sole survivor, and they hold him all accountable for their deaths. And to them, he is as much their murderer as the sky people. And so that's why this whale is the one they all fucking shit on.
Yes. So when this fight breaks out, this whale shows that it's also been outcast because it's into fighting games.
It knows about frame cancels. It's on the Discord.
They go to shoot. They being the bad human people who are harvesting its adrenochrome go to shoot a explosive tip harpoon at it. And what the whale does is like the whales have a very like tough like top half, so their underbelly is soft as well as the inside of their mouth. So the whale opens its mouth, and the harpoon guys are like, "Oh fuck yeah! I can't wait to shoot this." And then the whale closes its mouth and does a perfect parry, and it sends the harpoon like just off into the distance. And they're like,
"No, it shoots it into the boat. Like it blows up on the boat and fucks the boat up a little bit."
Yes. Yeah, you're correct. And then the second thing that happens is. He does a bait and punish because what happens is he's swimming like next to the harpoon boat and he gets them to shoot the harpoon at him, but at the last second he like jerks his head and starts spinning, so like the harpoon goes past him, but he's intentionally tangling himself up in the wire. And then he proceeds to like
he wraps the boat in the water. He grabbed the little tiny boat. Like the main boat is huge, but this is like a sub boat that has like guns on it. He wraps that boat up in wire and starts cutting it in half. And the main evil guy, like the captain of the whale boat, who's like, "I love killing the whales. Tell me more about how they're geniuses. Tell me more about how they invented math before us. That makes me happier to kill them." He gets like caught in the wire, and this is actually something about the movie that I wish was different, which is that James Cameron is holding back on the true sickness of the violence, because I was like, oh my god, cut him in half with the cable, They only cut his arm off.
Yeah,
lame.
He
should get cut in half.
Getting your arm cut off in that situation is like a hero's wound. That's like getting shot in the shoulder.
He can come back with like a robot arm or possibly Hook in the next movie and be like, "Arr, I hates the whale," and like have an Ahab situation going. I don't want that. I want to be dead.
Tom has a good point though, is that the violence in the movie, like they're for sure killing these people. Like there's no doubt that the violence that you are watching is lethal, but there's just like not a lot of gore. It reminds me a lot of actually RRR, because like the shit in RRR was over the top and actiony, but like it wasn't like the Raid 2 where you could see like the inside of a guy's skull pop out.
Yeah. Like I do appreciate the courage it takes to say with no to say in no uncertain terms, like, "Yo, our heroes are killing these fucking fascist people. They're murdering them, and you're supposed to cheer right now." And I'm like, okay, cool. I love that. I love when I see that. However, for me personally, when a fucker is killing whales, when a fucker kills whales that are beautiful and composed poems, I want to see him get cut in half. And that's just me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of death I think they deserve. Although I will say there are like 10 times. Joe told me that this was the meta move. There are like 10 times when there was a helicopter that was like doing minigun fire, trying to kill a Na'vi, and then some blue guy on a flying animal
just flies above it and shoots down. It always works.
And every single time we get an over-the-shoulder shot from inside the cockpit of the pilot being like, I'm doing a great job. And then a fucking, like, arrow the size of, like, a log shoots through the windshield and, like, totally owns him.
And the over-the-shoulder perspective is the least violent way to show that, too, right?
Yeah. You don't see any goop come out. Yeah. You know what actually... this is someone who I think should have committed murder. And this is another way this is manga, because every once in a while there was just a chapter about some side character. And you said that Avatar is great value because it's, an Avatar movie plus a Free Willy. It was actually a third movie about what if there was a crazy-ass white boy who busted it down sexual style.
As you probably inferred from my summary, I didn't fucking watch the first movie. So there's just this white kid with dreads, I guess. His name is Spider.
I love Spider. He just hangs around. Like, he's just like homies with the blue guys.
I think so he's the son of the bad guy from the first movie who comes back as a Space Jam alien. And
I did not know that the bad guy from the first movie had a baby. I don't recall that being a plot point.
The reason he's there is because they said this briefly. It's like there is hyperspace travel or something like that, but it requires you being like frozen, and you can't do that to babies. So that's why he was there.
Yeah. And he's just chilling with the blue people.
He never wears a shirt. He never fucking wears a shirt.
He's got the grossest dreadlocks. And I mean, speaking of dreadlocks,
it's like Super Saiyan 3 hair. But dreads.
Our homie Jake Sully, our protagonist, he's got dreads the entire movie. And I know this has been said by other people. This is not a novel observation, but I do have to say how wild this is. Fucking Jake Sully's whole deal is that he's a... You know what? You know Get Out, the movie Get Out, where the whole premise was white people insert their consciousness into a differently colored body, which they consider to be physically superior to their own. In that movie, that is portrayed as a horrifying and villainous thing to do. In Avatar, it's like, yeah, everybody should do it.
Yeah,
why stay white? Everybody do a Get Out. This kicks ass. You'll love it. Fucking Christ. Okay, but our homie Spider, he kicks ass. He's a crazy ass white boy. His arc is that he gets caught by the big evil man, because like the big evil man stumbles across all the children, and they all use their superior blue person agility to get away, but Spider, being simply a human, is caught. And I don't know exactly how our big blue evil man finds out that, like, oh shit, you're my son.
Oh, because when he respawns, he respawned with like all of the Colonel's memories up until the point he died. So that's why he's like, oh, wait a minute.
Are you my little boy?
Yeah, he's got an army accent. The bad guy, he sounds like a drill sergeant, but
yes.
My dumb word for that is army accent.
He does have an army accent, for real. And he has a squad of other Marines who have all been put into blue people. And I gotta say, one of, like, when the squad first, like, clashes with our heroes, like, one of them gets shot in the face with an arrow, and that sort of, like, alerts the bad guys, like, oh, we're in a fight. Imagine being, like, a hoorah elite Marine who loves to go do genocide on the alien planet, and you get killed by a blue person. Drat. And then you wake up. My God, my memories that I put on a USB drive before I went on the mission.
Not only that, but all my combat experience will now be even better because it'll be in a better body.
Yeah, and then the first thing that happens is you get shot in the face with an arrow for a second time. That is some high comedy. Anyway, the fucking guy's like, oh, you're my son? Well, I've kidnapped you now, and you know the Na'vi way better than I do, so you're going to be our interpreter on our big genocide mission. And Joe, I was so afraid that this sort of familyless child who's just sort of been glomming on to the blue people community was going to turn evil, or at least be tempted to turn evil by hanging out with his evil dad. You know, like, oh, I have a dad. He is my family. I have a dad. Maybe I'll turn evil. Maybe if I'm nice to him, he won't be so mean. And I was so scared he was going to turn evil.
No, he wilds out, though. Like, he... there's basically a turning point, I think, in the movie. Because he's, like, the whole time, he's, like, not restrained, but he's, like, under watch, right? Like, this whole fucking time.
Like, he's got 10 fucking Marine blue people with him at all times. So if he tries to do any nonsense, he's going to get murked instantly.
And there's just a point in the fight where he's just like, I think now. And he, like, just goes and grabs a fire extinguisher and just bashes the guy closest to him.
It's so... when it happened, I was able to speak in this theater because there's only one other party, and they were far enough away that if I speak lowly, they can't hear me. I just turned to Joe, and I'm like, fucking finally, he murders someone.
Yeah.
Like, as Spider, do murder.
Yeah, like, he's hissing at people. Like, he's so much of a Na'vi, he does their hissing as well. Like, he is crazy. He's so good.
I want to talk about the hissing. Joe, the hissing is so dumb. A lot of this movie works. I really don't think the hissing works. And I think the reason they hiss is because the Na'vi are sort of cat-like. They have a cat's physiology in a lot of ways. And it would make sense, then, for them to be able to hiss as a display of aggression.
Unless they're the fish variant.
Well, they still hiss, don't they?
I don't know.
I don't really remember.
But they're not cat-like.
Well, no, they're not. Their tails are big fucking, like, eel tails. That was very funny, because they all make fun of how their tails, like, you got small dick, bitch. Your tail's dumb. And, like, you don't really get a good look at their tails. I'm like, what's wrong with their tail? And then you see them swimming with their big fat
They have, like, an alligator tail, yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, you would make fun of a monkey tail if that was your tail. Anyway, the point being, they hiss. However, the way that hiss is rendered on film is, they ask a human person, please go, and they
good.
don't
it's
treat it.
So good.
There's no treatment to make it sound animalistic.
Are you sure? I think it sounds great. The thing I like about it is the way their ears go down.
Their ears go down. It's true. The blue people they don't look good, but they look real. You know, actually,
that sounds insane to say because it's nothing in the movie's real, but I actually agree with that.
Like I was saying, like, there were times where I had to remind myself that I was essentially watching a cartoon, because, like, this ocean's not real, these reefs don't exist, these fish are fake, there's no fish that are like this, and the blue guy that's swimming around certainly isn't real, because there ain't no blue guys. But, like, it's, you know, okay, so I mentioned this to my wife, and I'm gonna preface it with the same thing I preface it with her, which is, it's not as good as what I'm about to explain, compare it to. Obviously, like, it's nowhere near that. However, the Lord of the Rings movies have an incredible quality that all of it rings true. All of it looks real. Everything you're seeing, all the people, all the clothing, all the locations, none of it feels like a movie. None of it feels like a costume. None of it feels like a set. And, like, people will always talk about, like, the fun fact, like, did you know in Lord of the Rings that every extra is wearing chainmail that was made by hand?
I believe it.
Yeah, like, you think, like, that's ridiculous. What a waste of time. Because, like, you're not going to see, like, the chainmail's underneath shit, so you're not going to see it to begin with.
But it's about,
and, like, most of,
but it's about mindset.
Yes, and, like, most of the it's all in service of, like, there is a holistic thing happening here where everything is real, so that when you watch, nothing feels fakey, nothing feels like a movie, nothing feels like they're pretending. You know, like, if you're watching a stage show, obviously, you know everything is, like, every part of it is we're pretending. Like, this set, you know it's a set. You can see where it ends, but we're pretending. We're all pretending here. I never got that feeling about, like, the world and the place they were in And like it felt very much like a One Piece island. Like, we're not pretending. This is just how things are here. And I'm like, yeah, no, I believe it. And so it's obviously Lord of the Rings is an insanely better movie than this, but Avatar 2 does a fucking very rare thing, which is it matches that level of just like, it feels like a real thing. This feels like a world that people are living in.
And again, this is 99% CGI stuff. Like that's a taller order, I think, in some ways, because like, you know, a lot of practical costume stuff in Lord of the Rings, I feel like it's easier in that sense to look realistic. But this is just fucking blue people wearing face rigs.
Yeah. And like, people laughed at how James Cameron was like, I'm going to make 4 fucking sequels of my blue people OCs. I love them.
We do need to address that. Like, the reason they're happening is because he's in love with his OCs.
Oh my God, he can't stop. He fucking loves them.
He's showing everyone his notebooks. He's like, look at, I drew some new blue guys.
So okay, that's something. That's actually an interesting point. And this was, I think, a reason that I didn't really care for the first movie at all, which is that like, this world doesn't really have a hook. Like, there's no hook to Avatar. Like, Lord of the Rings is like, it's orcs and fucking elves, and like, this is where it came from. It's like, okay, that's dope. Star Wars is like, it's space guys, and there's also wizards. There's like wizard samurai. I'm like, okay, that's pretty dope. I like that. And Avatar is like, there are blue aliens who are really cool, and it's like, that's it. And it's like, yeah. But they're like really cool. You wouldn't believe all the lore I have for them. And it's like, yeah, but I don't like care. Like, what's the hook? Like, there is none. And that's why like, I didn't really give a shit about the first movie. The second movie, the reason it's good is because it's manga. Because it's just like, we've gotten past, you know, volume 1 and 2, where they have to lay down all the groundwork. And now we get to the chapters where they're just hanging out. And that's when like, oh, okay, now I see the thing that you're so excited about is your fun world that you made and all the concept art that you have. And now you're giving me a movie where all I do is look at the concept art and I look at the world. Very little plot. And I like that. This is a fucking thing that I really liked that I thought was very funny. So everyone makes fun of Jake's family because they have 5 fingers. I didn't recall that the Na'vi have 4 fingers, and that's like a plot point.
Is it the pure, like, breads have Ninja Turtle hands?
I think so.
Okay.
Because his deal is that the main guy, I said he get outed into a person of color's body, the color in this case being blue. But like the reason it's not like insanely evil like Get Out is that the body was like a brain dead like clone. Right. That doesn't exist as a being unless he gets get outed into it. And like because it has to match human DNA somehow, that's why their faces look the same. It has to have 5 fingers for some reason. And all of his kids have 5 fingers. And all the blue people are like, you're an alien freak. Look at your fucking pinky. It's so lame. And young blue boy has been getting in trouble for always rising to the provocations. He always gets mad in response. And he gets getting told, don't get mad. And don't go see that whale. He sucks. He's going to go sicko mode later and save the day. We hate that. But at one point, they're like, your fucking finger's so freaky. And you think that he's going to like learn and not get angry. And he's like, yes, you're right. It is a very freaky finger. Look at it. And he's like, see, get a good look. It is very, very ugly and horrible, but it can do a very interesting thing. You'll never believe this. And he's like, if you take it and you ball it up like this with all your other fingers, and I think to myself, surely he's not gonna. It's like it can do a very cool thing, and like, cause all the fucking sea people are like peering in to see what cool thing will happen when you ball up your pinky. And I'm like, surely not. It's like, and when you ball up them all like this, it's called a fist, and he punches them in the face, and it's like, oh, that's so dumb. It's
kind of a Three Stooges thing. Like, it's very slapstick. Like everyone like leaning in.
Like, how can you not tell that he's gonna hit you? Like he's gonna hit you. Like, you can make a fist with 4 fingers, man. You should know.
Yeah, it is funny. You do not know our soggy ways.
They really had to, it was hard for them to learn their soggy. You know what I kept wanting for them to have to like go to the forest at some point so that they could laugh at the sea people who aren't able to swing from vines like Tarzan.
So
because I'm just like, hey, swinging from vines is cool too.
So is each subsequent movie going to be them being taken in by a different palette swap of the blue people?
Dude, I sure fucking hope. Because like at the very end, he's like, I'm gonna run away because I've brought my war to your people, and I never wanted that. And the blue and the I keep saying blue like he's not blue. The sea chief is like, no man, you've fought and died with us. You're of the Sea Clan now. And he's like, I guess I'll stay. I'm like, no, don't stay. Meet the red people.
Yeah, there's probably a desert biome.
Yo, beige people.
Yeah. We could get... it could be like a kind of a Dune movie.
Yeah.
See? What's not to like?
Yo, they have to go to Ice World, and they have to learn how to ice skate.
They filmed the third movie at the same time, right?
Yeah, because I think what happened was, like, he was gonna... Like, the plan was that he was just gonna knock out these Avatar movies, but then he discovered that that they had not yet invented good graphics, and he had to wait like 18 years for them to invent water graphics. And
see, I would just not have made ocean people then. Like if that was the limitation, I would have rewritten it, but that's why I'm not the guy.
Yeah, that's why you don't have billions of dollars in box office returns. Yeah, I'm ever love water. Abyss was about water. Titanic, that's about water. This one's about water. Water's cool. When you get water to be good graphics, it looks pretty dope. So yeah, he was right to wait for the good graphics. And I think they did shoot 2 and 3 simultaneously. And you know what? I think the most stunning compliment I'm going to give Avatar 2. Because I came into this. Remember, I said I didn't want to see it unless it was grist for an episode. The most stunning compliment I can give it is that it makes me want to see Avatar 3. Mm-hmm. Which, wow, I didn't think I'd say that.
I went in thinking I am going to get visual spectacle. He had to sit on his couch and wait for 18 years for computers to get good enough for his vision. And that's how I approached it. Like, the plot is whatever. Tom's right. It is... Like, they get to the Sea People village, and they run out the clock. And I don't mean that in, like, a bad way. It's really just manga chapters where they're vibing.
Yeah. I love it. Vibing. It's, like you know, one of the things people talk about post-time skip One Piece, they criticize the fact that because the cast has ballooned to so many people and so many factions, and because now that we're in sort of the second half of the series... the things that are happening are more important on a global scale and involve more people and affect a greater, area than before when it was just some dopes on a boat. Because of that, we don't really get the chance to have a lot of screen time, page time, I guess, given over to the Straw Hat Pirates chilling out, vibing, and being friends. Because, there's so many other things that need to happen. And that's a very valid complaint, because when you got a bunch of people chilling out and vibing and being friends in a cool environment, buddy, I could watch hours of that. I could read hundreds of that. Chapters. You read the chapters. I could do words. I could read it. That's my take.
Yeah.
Avatar 2.
I liked it more than I thought it would. That was your takeaway too, right?
Yep.
It's not anime though, it's manga. So
it's manga. It's manga.
You can't do what we do.
Yeah, we're better than you at it. That's why we are the anime sickos. And you're just some fucking
person who gives us $5. Yeah.
Yeah. We're in our angry phase. We're in our antagonistic era. We hate you guys now. No. Yo, actually, Joe, before we sum up and log off, we do have to revisit our terrible 19-point movie rating rubric.
Oh, real quick, we can blow through it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Number 1, does it have sick melee fight?
Yeah.
Obviously. 2, is there farting? No. No, I really wish there was some farting. It's very funny when people fart. Number 3, does the main character recite his motivation 10 times? Sullies stick together.
Sullies stick together, yeah, and like he just talks about family nonstop.
The family is our fortress. We're great. No, our oldest son will have nothing bad happen to him. Number 4, is there freaks?
I mean, like, the blue people are like kind of weird, but not. They don't
act weird. They just look weird to us.
Yeah.
To them, they're normal.
Yeah,
Yo, no, actually, what am I saying? Dude, the young blue boy's whale friend is a freak because he knows about frame data.
Oh, that's true, yeah. We didn't mention this, but, like, he literally gets on the boat and, like, fights the guys with his flippers. Like, he does...
Yeah, you know how whales, like, breach and they, like, fall backwards on their back onto the water? Well, he did that, but onto the boat and just started, like, fucking the shit up.
It ruled, yeah. A whale that fights and knows frame canceling would be a freak.
Okay, number 5, does anybody say multiverse?
No, it's mostly about this planet called Pandora.
Yeah. Number 6, is there a Shippuden in it?
It takes place like 2 minutes after the first one, so no.
I mean, it takes place of many years because he has a full-ass family.
Oh,
now.
yeah. You might be surprised to learn I did not watch the first one. I assumed his family was always there.
Didn't you say that becoming a Monstar is a type of Shippuden?
Oh, yeah, that is true. It's an isekai.
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes for that. It's very funny because when the evil man wakes up in his blue body, there's a little exposition video from himself in human form being like, "Hello, me. You probably are blue now. If you're watching this, I'm dead, which I'll never be. So you're never seeing this, buddy." And it just occurs to me, like, why would a body that has all of his memories need him to remind him of things? But anyway, it doesn't matter. Number 7, is there someone spec'd for magic? Yes, the Sigourney Weaver child.
Yeah, they've seeded a magic talent tree for her.
Number 8, are there key items? Would you call the whale adrenochrome a key item?
I would call the whale adrenochrome a resource, period. And it's just like a function of the world. To me, a key item is a key that screams when you touch it, or maybe like a sword that's always...
An amulet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm not thinking about any key items. Could it be the mother's bow? Is that a key? I don't know.
It breaks though. Item. Like she bashes too many guys with it, and it breaks a little.
Yeah, and it makes her sad. So that's like a key item break. I'm gonna say no. There's no key.
My argument there is that if it was a key item, it would not have broken.
No, okay, it's just a legendary bow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a mini boss? Yeah, that fucking boat captain who gets his arm cut off.
Yeah.
Is there mini games? I would say doing stunts with the whale. Like, obvious, like if this was like Tony Hawk mode, like I could see the multiplayer going nuts when that young blue boy is doing whale stunts.
Yeah. There's no blitzball or anything, but the SeaWorld routine counts.
Yeah. It'd be better if it was blitzball. Is there a rageful corpse hound?
I guess the antagonist marine guy with the army accent, like he is that. Like he wants to kill Sully big time. I mean,
his main motivation for wanting to kill Sully is that he killed him.
Yeah, which like this makes sense. I believe that motivation.
Yo, you know what I think makes me sells the corpse hound is that he finds his own dead body, his original human body, and pulls his skull out of it and crunches it in his hand.
And this reinforces how fucking cartoonishly tall he is, because like his skull is like a tiny bocce ball in his hand.
Yes. I'm like, what is he gonna say? There are so many balls of approximate size that Joe could choose from. Bocce ball, I think, is the funniest one. Is it about downgrading a little town? Not really.
The bad guys are trying to downgrade the town.
but they prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Like there's another town, like there is another tribe of water people who don't fucking know a thing about where Sully is, who get like interrogated, and they're like, tell me where this fucker is, and they're like, this is a forest guy. He's in the forest, idiot. He's a different shade of blue. And they're like, they won't talk, burn their village and they'll see. But it's not about that. Is there the Joker?
Well, actually, yes, because before the whale goes John Wick mode, there's this very funny sequence, I guess, where we get the piss vision from the whale. Okay, we're like seeing things through the whale vision, and you can tell that the whale sees like the guys on the whale hunting boat, and it's just like, oh fuck, should I go sicko mode? No, I mustn't go sicko mode. I must never go sicko mode. And like, and then it's just like, yeah, I'll just go fucking nuts.
Okay, I'm gonna give that a point. That counts as a Joker. Number 14. If historical, does anyone have modern ideology? It's not historical. Does not apply.
This didn't happen.
Number 15. Does the main guy behave morally at all times? Yeah, he kills people who are evil with a gun.
Yeah, I mean everyone's trying to kill his family, so.
Yeah. Number 16. Is there nudity? No, and it's a fucking ridiculous. How is there no blue hog on screen?
It's really fucked up.
They only wear loincloths, and they're constantly doing acrobatics. The chances that there is no blue nutsacks getting flashed around is 0%. And all the girl blue aliens wear like a net as a top. They're like exclusively wearing like a string of beads, and like folks, the titties would be flying out. They would. I'm sorry. Like, if you're gonna not have there be nudity, you gotta give them more realistic clothing. They're like, come on, man.
Where's the
Just
hog?
show the blue dogs.
Where is it? Also, there's lots of shots of them swimming where the camera was under them. We should be able to see the dong.
Where's the dong?
Where's the dong?
Are you saying they don't have? Are they like fucking like where it's like a dog where like it's in
retracts.
most of the time?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want that.
No.
Number 17. Is there violence sick enough to break through the dead layer of apathy the world has draped us in? Not really. I wish.
It's PS2 violence. It's whatever.
It's, you know what it is? It's Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Where like, you know, there could be huge globs of blood.
Yes.
But there just isn't. Like, you still are ripping a spine out. And that is cool. But it's just like, you know, it's getting held back so that it isn't R-rated. Anyway. Number 18. Is it possible to hear what the characters' names are? Fucking no. I love it.
No.
Like, if you try to tell me that you know what the names of Jake's sons are, you are lying to me. Or you looked it up on fucking Wikipedia and memorized it before. You are not... Like, there are so many times when, like, we'll move to a new location and, like, what the location is will be written on screen. At one point, I turned to Joe, and I was like, he's out of his mind if he thinks we're going to remember this shit. Like, what? This is random letters.
Yeah.
And... Number 19, does the main guy display Goku-like behavior?
He doesn't really power up.
And also, Joe, this I think a very damning thing.
He gives a shit about his family.
He gives a shit about his family, and also, he at the beginning at least, he's like, someone is trying to challenge me to a fight. So,
I will leave.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I will avoid the fight, because fights have collateral damage that I don't need right now. Goku would never do this.
The
so
tournament is that way? Oh, no, thank you.
So all told, that's 13 points out of a possible 19 for a total of 68%. D-. This movie sucks.
Yep.
All that positive praise we said before is null and void.
This is cold, hard math.
The only possible explanation for how this movie could be good, despite what we've just shown you, is if our rating scale is dumb and doesn't work, which that could never be true.
Yeah, it's correct and precise and smart.
Yeah, and it applies to all genres. So, yeah. Anywho, that's all the time we have for Enemy Sickos. I like this movie.
Yeah, I like this more than I thought I would. I hope He makes as many as he wants.
Yeah. I hope they make another Alita. That movie was pretty fun. There was a lot of fucking blood in that one. There was a bit in that one that, like, it was so brief and it wasn't played as, like, scary, but it was, like, the scariest thing in the fucking universe, which is Jennifer Connelly was in it. And obviously I'm going to be in favor of her being around on account of looking like that. And, like, the villain at one point is like, did you think that you were going to meet Jennifer Connelly here? It looks like she beat you here. And he presses a little button and, like, a panel opens up. And there's just, like, her brain in a jar. And then there's, like, another jar in front of it with two eyes, like, looking out. I'm like, oh, fuck! No! And, like, and like, they don't linger on that, but I'm like, oh, they took out her brain and eyes, and that's her whole life now.
Oh no.
Alita kicks ass. I like when there's movies that are just manga. They should be more of those. Why did I get so high?
I don't know.
I'm back. Anyway, did I say that's all the time we have for Anime Sickos? Fuck, I don't know.
You did now.
I'm out of gas. I'm Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I'm Joe, an Anime Sicko.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.